Hey everybody, welcome back to Elevator Pitch. My name is Joe Ennis, and today I am speaking with Terrence Wheeler. Terrence is the founder and CEO of Lumiere Vodka, which he started in college. He saw a area of need for a new vodka that was distilled well, and it was using the proper techniques that have kind of gone missing in a lot of vodkas today. Terrence has worked extremely hard to not only grow the business, but also receive funding for the business as of recent. He's incredible at what he's done. He's gone through many changes with his product, and he's worked with a lot of different distillers now to hopefully get it in stores very soon. It is on its way to be a public product soon. So the episode was really great. Terrence gets to speak a lot about what makes Lumiere Vodka different, his journey to get where he is now as an entrepreneur, and a lot of other stuff. So please enjoy the episode. I think it was great. Terrence is an incredibly strong, hardworking man, and I am excited to taste this vodka for myself. So enjoy the episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to Elevator Pitch. My name is Joe Ennis, and today I am speaking with Terrence Wheeler. Terrence, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, thank you, Joe.
So, first off, you're the first vodka company that I've had on, so I'm very excited about that. But tell everybody a little bit about how you got into that game, a little bit about yourself, and a little bit about Lumiere Vodka.
Sure. So, I actually have a really wacky story and how I actually got started. I started in college, and I had noticed there was a problem. That's the whole point of business, and I didn't know I was business minded at the time. It kind of just all hit me at one time, and I saw that people were consuming this jungle juice, and everybody was consuming just jungle juice at different parties and different events, and everybody made it differently. And I noticed when people would consume it, or they consume too much of it, they would get sick, or they were throwing up, or they just weren't feeling well the next morning. And I always just thought to myself, how can I fix that? My mind was, I'm always really contemplative, and I'm always a thinker. So I was just thinking around the issue of, all right, how can I solve this issue of everybody just getting sick all the time? So I wanted to standardize it. What if everyone just had this standardized beverage in which they could consume on campus instead of everyone always having to run through a liquor store and do all those different exchanges. So I came up with this own juice composition that I had created, and it had a little bit of chemistry attached to it. And the way it was made, it was like a fluorescent greenish bluish hue to it, and it would basically, people could consume it. It tasted well, and people could also, get their nice feeling or their pleasant feeling for the night. And I decided to take a snack baggie. I poked a hole through it and mimicked the Capri Sun concept, and I started selling for like $5. It was definitely bootlegging at the time.
Yeah.
And then, it did so well, and people started going crazy for it. And then I came up with a name for it. I noticed everybody started calling everything lit. I bandwagoned that term and started calling it Litty Juice. And then after it got really popular, I went to the dollar store and I saw these glass bottles. Had a little cork on the top. And then I went to Walmart. I got these like Avery name tag labels. It was Avery name tag labels. And I came up with a weird logo and slapped the logo on it. And to this day, I still have the bottle. Called it Litty Juice.
Heck yeah, dude. Litty
and
Juice.
It blew up all over the Hampton Roads area. Christopher Newport, ODU, Hampton University, they were all calling me for this Litty Juice. Even administration, I had people on campus that were calling me for Litty Juice. And one person had walked in one day and asked me, "Are you going to start a liquor company?" And that bug just really never left my head. It never left my ear. It was always talking to me. And I got this notebook. I still have this notebook to this day. And I just kept writing down all these notes about my vision. And at first I wanted to call it Potion because this bottle looks like a potion bottle. And I started to get into just more concepts of how liquor was made. I started really studying it in post-grad, got into a lot of unconventional technologies in the way that we could actually make liquor or distillation, make the distillation process more efficient, more cleaner, and actually put more flavor into it. And then I developed Lumiere Vodka. So
That's awesome.
That's actually All right,
That's
no
awesome,
problem.
bro. Well, first off, yeah, I mean, I want to kind of get into some things. You kind of hit on a few different, of my questions off the bat. Number one, kind of the issues that you were seeing, in the vodka and liquor space, at least on college campuses, which I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but just by the way, if you're underage, don't drink. I've never done a podcast with
Yes, please.
an alcoholic company, but we don't endorse drinking underage. Anyways, um, you know, and you kind of also hit on what Liddy Juice at the time was trying to solve. Has that idea changed at all since kind of growing it into a more professional vodka brand? Has the issue that you're trying to solve, has it changed for you? Do you see other issues as you get deeper into the industry that you think Lumiere is going to be able to solve?
Sure, sure. So I'll actually start with a funny story on how I've tried to solve so many different problems.
Sure.
And then I'll come to what the business model is and what it came today. Because your first preconceived notions that you start with as an entrepreneur it will never be with what you end with. And the main, I'd say the most important or esoteric skill set of an entrepreneur is creativity. And only a small percentage of people have that, and entrepreneurs just want to solve so many problems at one time. And the first problem I wanted to solve was, I remember because it had a fluorescent color to it, Liddy Juice had this greenish bluish hue to it. I was like, oh well, instead of putting those fluorescent cubes to make liquor glow in the clubs, or we having like a little college party stuff like that, why don't I figure out a way to use bioluminescence in spirits? And so I remember, presenting this idea to one guy who I had found, I connected with on LinkedIn. And he got on the phone with me and he was like, "You want to do what?" I was like, "I think there's a company called ProLume. They're doing this right now. They're extracting, bioluminescent material out of, sea, sea creatures,
Yeah.
and we can actually ingest." I was going through all these scientific analysis. I remember I talked to a teacher on my college campus about this, and I mean, needless to say, crazy idea at the time, and it's not definitely where I ended, but that's just how I started in the research that went into just solve one problem. And then where we are today, as far as professionalizing what I really, where I came from to where I am
Sure.
now, is the vodka segment. It counts for about 33 to 34% of really the volume that's consumed or sold within the industry right now. And it's the backbone of the industry. I mean, if there was no vodka, I'd have a hard time kind of trying to think who else would account for such a large margin, or 33, 34%.
Sure.
That's huge. And what I noticed is the vodka segment is dying because people, if you notice now, are really interested in bourbons or tequilas, and now you have gin, which is really coming along really strong now. It's spiking statistically, and vodka had a very good run in the early 2000s, with luxury packaging and the aspect that vodka could be mixed in all these different cocktails, but it also has a lot of traditional roots back then of going into a lot of classic cocktails as well. So, and that was during the 70s and 80s. But now, vodka drinkers, especially within the millennial generation, are becoming disinterested in this segment because vodka it's just the same thing every time. It's vodka. We still drink vodka because it's vodka.
Sure.
You can mix
Yeah.
it, you can put it in anything, and it can still make the party happy.
Yeah.
But now what they're doing is they're stripping all the character and they're stripping all the character from the spirit in general. They're distilling it so many times, distilling it 10 to 11 times, and some people, say 300 times, and they're calling all these purity marketing terms. But vodka should actually resemble the ingredients in which it was made from. And Lumiere Vodka actually takes the careful cultivation of agricultural processes, procurement of its water, which makes up the main composition of vodka, and then we come up with our own proprietary recipe. So the aromas are robust and the flavor is rich. And if you actually take the time to cultivate a good agricultural process and use careful distillation process, not mass production, but a careful distillation process, and use good quality ingredients, you'll actually taste them. And vodka can have flavor again. It's not just something neutral, smells like rubbing alcohol that, just everyone just has this bad perception of vodka. So I think it's time to recondition people in which the way that we look at vodka. And then that's where Lumiere Vodka comes on. It's light, it's fresh, it has beautiful packaging, it shines. That's what love vodka is. We're reconditioning people to love vodka again.
I
So
love it.
taste the love, taste the Lumiere Vodka.
That's awesome. I love it. And that bottle is sweet. I think the bottle looks awesome. That's the cool bottle for like a bar, you know? That one will stand out.
Oh, definitely. It's gonna have great visual impact.
Oh yeah. So you kind of again just kind of hit on my next question, which is usually what sets you guys apart from someone in your field, and you've already kind of hit on that in terms of the care that you put towards the spirit itself and how it's made and the care that you put towards the product. Is there any sort of I don't know, maybe messaging or way that your company, as new as it is trying to spread the message of vodka as a spirit, as a product, or kind of highlight vodka in a way that others aren't? What kind of ways are you guys trying to kind of set yourselves apart from other vodka brands in terms of your message, I guess?
Well, I'd say our main core competency is our recipe. It's proprietary. No, I've developed it in cooperation with my master distiller, Roelof Schipperus, who I work hand in hand with, and no other spirit is made from vanilla. I mean, we use malted barley. I mean, the main ingredients that you'll hear most of the time in vodka is corn, rye, barley, and now there's sometimes they'll malt it as well. They'll come out with like an estate brand if they want consumers to trade up to a more ultra premium segment. But no one ever takes the time to look in the different ingredients that are also high in sugar content, or starches as well that can be converted to readily available sugars for vodka making. We always use the traditional ingredients to give those traditional flavor profiles. And now they'll try to blend them as well. But our main core competency is having a unique recipe where you can actually taste that recipe. I feel like vodka brands always market, well, it's made from all these things, but then you taste it, it tastes like nothing. Wait, what did I just taste? And then I'd say the difference in us is you can actually connect with us. There's a connection made. And I say that because there's no young representation of a spirit brand within the industry right now, unless there's celebrities backing it, and they still don't really back it either because they don't have the authentic knowledge to actually passionately sell it,
sure,
and communicate it to which people can actually develop that emotional appeal. And I think that if you take a luxury brand and you give representation of what people like or what people speak to or communicate with on a daily basis, as well as a communication vessel, such as me, I'm a good communication vessel. That's what makes Lumiere Vodka different. We want to be able to facilitate those ground level conversations about what people want, and people want taste again. They want flavor. That's what consumers cannot communicate right now. That's why they're going to bourbons, tequilas, and gins. They want taste again. So that's why we're here to bring that back.
That's awesome. Terrence, why should people care about the vodka industry? For most people, it's just the kind of thing where it is what it is. It's just another drink, and every bar ever has it. Like, why should people care about maybe where their vodka's coming from, who they're buying vodka from, the way that these companies are treating vodka, and kind of the trajectory of the vodka space? You were telling me before this interview a little bit about just the vodka space in general. Can you speak to that a little bit? Why should people care about this?
Sure. So you should care about what you're consuming, because if you don't, it will never change. And people by nature, you get tired of tasting and eating and drinking the same thing.
Yeah.
The same way that you care about what you consume when you're eating it or chewing it up. I mean, the health wave is huge right now. I'm not saying spirits will never be healthy,
Sure.
but what we consume is very important as far as the progression of the category overall. And if consumers will never be able to express, something different that they're looking for, then brands will never change. And we'll just be consuming the same stuff. And I think there's much better ways. Alcohol does not have to taste bad. Not have to taste bad. Just think about the juices that you drink. They taste good. They come from fruits.
Sure, yeah.
And things that also come from the earth. Why can't alcohol taste that way too? I mean, alcohol just has, the molecule ethanol in it, and it's a little bit different, but it's all mixed in a composition. And it does not have to taste bad. There can be a pleasant way that you consume without layering it with all these juices and different mixtures and which cocktails are. And I love cocktail science. I'm not taking anything away from it. I know, because I want the bartending police to come after me for this video, but there's a good way to prepare alcohol. The same way that there's a good way to prepare anything, there's a good way to prepare alcohol. And the more consumers express their interest in how alcohol is made and the signature story behind brands, it will give permission for the industry to grow in ways we can't even imagine right now. Mm-hmm. So
interesting. That's great. That's awesome. I mean, yeah, and I mean, you're right. I feel like there is this big movement of people really looking into what they're consuming in terms of, mostly health stuff, but also just ingredients, like, and what it's made of. So, hopefully people do that in other aspects too, especially including alcohol, which is consumed constantly. Terrence, a few different things that I want to, ask you before we start closing. Number one, you spoke of your journey to actually creating the vodka. I know recently you guys just, received funding, which congratulations again for that. I have a lot of young entrepreneurs that listen to this show and older entrepreneurs, and many of them want to start businesses, but they don't know how, they don't know where to start in terms of funding, things like that. Can you talk a little bit about your journey to where you are now in terms of entrepreneurship and kind of the business side of things and not necessarily the product? And if you have any advice for yourself a couple years ago, what would you tell yourself, or what would you tell other entrepreneurs that might be listening to this that are looking to accomplish their goals in terms of business?
Wow. So I'd say the first thing that you want to understand as an entrepreneur, especially an entrepreneur who's just trying to build something, if you're just trying to start a business, or you just want some additional income, and just kind of one of those things. If you want your business to be transactional, then you'll work in that way, and you'll approach people in that way. But if you're trying to build something, I'd say my best advice to anybody is where you start is not where you'll end. And I mean, oh man, I had such a hard and troubling road for me to develop my vodka, and especially as a young kid, a minority, I was walking in rooms all the time, and I mean, the room would be silent, and I could tell I was being judged right away. And I know people would like to test my knowledge, or they would laugh like, all right, is he really serious? Especially when I remember I started out presenting this.
Yeah,
I didn't. There was a time when I didn't even have this. This was in my head at one point.
Right.
And you have to communicate things with such eloquence, such passion, and such spirit that people want to follow your vision. They should see it in the same way that you see it. You have to create that vision right in front of them as you speak. And each time I went in a room, I did that. You couldn't tell me this wasn't Lumiere Vodka right now. When I first had this, I remember just being my 22-year-old self, just in a room, just kept talking about it, just kept getting a meeting, kept looking at resources, kept making calls. If people weren't responding to me, kept leaving voicemails. I kept doing that until I got a meeting, and I don't care if I walked in there with this. This was Lumiere Vodka. And you have to create that vision for people. And when people understand that you trust your vision, and you're not just speaking on your vision, there's two different things. They'll follow you. And when people follow you, then that's when they pass you on as mine. And that's when they want to connect with you. Then that's when they want to help you build something. And I think if you just understand that and you break that down in your head, no matter how hard things get, I mean, I had times where I had my case of prototypes, and I'll never forget this. I was walking down the street in DC, and I was on my way to a meeting, and it just started storming raining, and my suit got all wet, and I was all soaked, and I had my prototypes, and I had to climb steps because you know how tall those buildings are in DC, and I still went to the meeting, and I got in my car, and I even shed a couple tears after the meeting because I just I was really upset because it's like you wonder what is all this for, and I think the most important thing to really get out of that is when you endure something, you'll understand what the reward meant for you. Not what the reward was for, but what it meant for you. And I mean, after I earned funding, which was like the best feeling in the world, I thought I could fly. I mean, I was ready to grow wings and just fly, but I went through so much to earn that, and you got to earn it. That's what entrepreneurship is about. You got to earn it, and that's the name of the game. So I think that's the best way to explain it.
Awesome. I think that was a great way to explain it. Terrence, in closing here, a couple, questions. We usually ask businesses because we usually work with, or we usually are interviewing B2B businesses, things like that. We usually ask them who their ideal clients are. But I guess in this instance, I would kind of ask, who are your ideal, buyers? What kind of people will enjoy this vodka? Do you know if there's a group that probably wouldn't enjoy this vodka? Who are the ideal people for this product?
Sure. So, I mean, the way we have it drawn up from the business perspective or, the theoretical framework, I'm not a big believer in theory. I just like to do it. Sure. But I'd say, our target market is the millennial generation, 21, 35-year-old men and women. We don't discriminate based on gender. And I think that's the best market for us because that's where the radical preference comes in. When you get a little bit older, beyond that 35-year-old age range, then people just come a little bit more attached to
Sure.
what they're currently drinking, or they don't really want to move from that. People just become a little more stubborn in their ways. But when you get the curious people, when you get the curious drinkers, then that's where you get pulls off the shelf, and that's where you get people who are willing to listen to a presentation from the bartender or a recommendation based on what they should drink for the night. And little do you know, the older generation actually looks for us. They actually look to us to see what we're, what Sure. the millennial generation is doing. And then it kind of trickled down from that. Just think about the iPhone.
Yeah.
Most young people had an iPhone in their hand before the old generation did. And then now look at them. They're all, most of the time you see this all at the table.
Yeah. They're all
coming around with their one finger, but they're on them though. They all have an iPhone, and it works just the same way pretty much in just about every industry, and especially in spirits. And I think if we get the millennials talking, which have a lot of power, I think it's the most powerful generation in the world right now. If we get the millennials talking and get them interested, and I don't even want to say just interested. If we get them to love vodka, I think that the potential for this is tremendous because we now have a brand that represents us and a brand that is backed by us. And this is the future. This is the future right here. So I think I'll close on that.
Sure. That's awesome. That's great. Terrence, last question for you. If people want to get involved, if they want to follow Lumiere Vodka, figure out where they can get some Lumiere Vodka, how can people get in touch with either you or the company? How can they get involved following you guys? Plug away. The floor is yours. Let everyone know what's going on and how they can, get involved.
Sure. So you can get in touch with us on pretty much any social media platform. We're on Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok. Oh goodness, I think
you're everywhere.
We're everywhere, and it's Lumiere Vodka across all platforms. We're also You can also reach us on LumiereVodka.com. Please subscribe to our emails newsletter, and we'll be able to put out all the latest and greatest news about where we're at, where we're getting placements, and we'll look to be in your most local bar, restaurant, soon to be hotel. We might be on the cruise soon too. Support us in that. So.
Awesome. That's great. And listeners, as always, all of the links to everything Terrence Wheeler and Lumiere Vodka will be in the description of this episode, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on whatever podcast platform you're on. Terrence, thank you so much again for coming on today. Wish you all the best, and I'm excited to try it and see it in my local stores.
Yes. We'll be in DC and Maryland first, and then we'll look to expand in there.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on again.
Thank you.
Hey, I want to thank Terrence one more time for coming on. It was an awesome episode. Remember, if you're new here, click that subscribe button. It helps us know how many people are listening and helps us see how we can grow better. You can click it on any audio platform or on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, you can actually click the button above my head. Thanks again. Have a great day.